Update: my husband just left me because a woman hit on him for the first time in his life, and he says he can't let this pass. A couple days ago, I posted about my husband suddenly leaving me because of, well, having experienced for the first time that a woman actually showed active interest in him. Yesterday, my husband and I met for the first time since he up and left last Friday. And frankly, after the meetup, I was very shaken, so it took me until today to be able to write about this. Since so many people have reached out to me with helpful comments and all, I think you deserve an update, but I really wasn't up to it yesterday. Also, this is really long, so sorry in advance, there's just so much to cope with. So here we go. The situation felt very awkward, and I got the impression the whole time that he genuinely feels sorry for how things were and that what he is doing hurts me. I know many of you said he's a jerk, a cheater and whatnot, and I really understand you and are mad at him myself. But on the other hand, you all do not know him like I do. He's a very honest person, he despises lying and is really bad at this, he carries his heart on his tongue and I know him well enough to sense his feelings. Did that help me? Not so much. Now, even if I wanted to, I couldn't paraphrase our conversation, and I am sure I will miss out on certain things, and overall, it was a mixture of him telling and me asking questions, and it's all a big flurry in my head, so I'll just summarize I guess. First he told me that he really loved me, and he still does, but he feels that his feelings for the new woman are stronger. He told me her name, let's call her Jasmine. He admits Jasmine is gorgeous, but claims that on its own was in no way relevant for his decision. Yeah, right? He told me that she originally approached him because of a book he was reading during lunch. Supposedly, the book's author is her uncle, and she was able to tell my husband some funny stories about the time her uncle drafted that book. He says he and Jasmine have very similar interests. Jasmine also reads sci-fi as he does, because of said uncle who is a sci-fi author, and both like gaming and stuff. He says after they exchanged numbers, they initially only wrote about stuff like that, and later on they talked about other hobbies and interests and found more and more common ground as he put it. He also admitted that like 2 weeks or so ago he started to wonder if he should actively tell me about her, seeing how she turned from an acquaintance to what he deems a friend. I interjected that they don't know each other long enough to consider her a friend, but he says he feels Jasmine is really genuine with him. This is a man who cannot pick up social clues unless they are spelled out for him, but whatever. He also feels a lot more in tune with Jasmine than he does with me. Admittedly, we seem to have less common interests, but I never felt like I have to be exactly like my partner. Opposites can complement each other well, and I always felt we do. Well, looks like he feels much happier with someone catering to his interests a lot more. He also became a bit self-critical then. He says after he left for his friend's place, he sat down and reread his conversation history with Jasmine, and he realized that she had indeed been flirting with him before she told him she wanted more. It didn't start out flirtatious, but he admits he totally missed that. He opened up the app on his phone and showed me the beginning and then when she started flirting. He might have tuned the messages, but at least the beginning's really ready-friendly. The flirtatious parts however were blatantly obvious in my eyes, but he actually blames himself for that and says that while that doesn't change his feelings for her, it means he should have noticed this earlier and, well, he said, make the decision to pursue her earlier. That sort of broke me and I started crying because it sounds as if I never had a chance compared to Jasmine. He even wanted to console me, and I allowed that for a couple minutes, but then I sought some distance again. It both felt good and bad to be in his arms. Then it was time to ask me why she is so attractive to him that he leaves me, his wife, for just the mere possibility of being with another woman. I mentioned that someone, I didn't say Reddit, suggested she might be a scam, or just interested in breaking up marriages and going after men who are taken, and such. He, of course, vehemently denied that. Supposedly, they met last Sunday to go out for dinner, and they talked about the fact that she approached him even though he is married, and she claims to have a really bad conscience about this, and that she never would have done it, had she not felt such a deep connection between them blah blah blah. I must admit I really struggled through that part. Because if it is true, it hurts me, and if it isn't, it hurts even more that he falls for this kind of bullcrap. He then told me in excruciating detail about his dating life, and how long he had his V card, and how he was always treated by girls back in middle school and high school, and by the women in college and later on, how he really feels that he always has to be the one initiating, fighting even for a chance, and felt like he was always treated as unworthy by almost all women, and how that made him bitter. He admitted that, but also how he always thought that someone who truly fits him, fits his personality, his character, his being, would be someone who would not make him jump through hoops, someone who'd outright tell him she is intrigued by him and wants him. He says he loves me dearly and was always very grateful for being with me, but that even with me he always felt somewhere between a beggar and the subject of a pity party, where I bestowed the grace of my companionship onto him instead of actually liking and wanting him. When I asked him whether that means he settled for me, he vehemently denied that. He said when we started to date, I really treated him better than any woman had done before, so he really thought this was what he had been looking for, and before meeting Jasmine he never felt like he needed more. I of course tried to tell him that I am not with him out of pity or anything and explained why I made him wait 3 months, and why I think the man should court the woman and so forth, and then I also admitted that I might not have given him the appreciation he deserved. This time, it actually was his turn to drop tears for a bit. He said hearing that made him both grateful and unhappy that he never really communicated better about this. I told him that hearing him say that feels like he is putting the blame on me. And I swear to God, his eyes like doubled their size, and he looked genuinely shocked, and he apologized many times and said he did not want me to think he actually has any bad feelings about having to wait back then and that this is a situation where no one is to blame, but especially not me. He said I have been a wonderful wife and all, but that with Jasmine, it just feels different, and like a deeper connection that the two of us have, and that while he thought that I was wonderful, he now realizes that what he really was looking for in life was something else. So he says reconciliation is not really an option because he realized that we're not right for each other, and even if it doesn't work out with Jasmine, he knows now that he actually needs something that I just am not. I mentioned marriage counseling, and he said that it's not like our marriage has issues, but that the issue is that we're just not right for each other. There were more things we said, and maybe I'll add some later, but right now I am too mentally exhausted. Especially because I still don't feel like I can hate him, because he felt so freaking honest. I think he at least truly believes all the things he said, but that woman still might be a total liar or a scam. He at least promised to be careful with her financial wise, but he assured me she's not that. I don't know what to make with any of this. It hurts. I guess my marriage is over.